Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Rashida McFerrin, and today we are talking about Black women and success. So, a topic of conversation that came up in a social gathering I was at the other night was centrally centered around why do Black women have to sacrifice so much in order to be successful? And we had a number of women in the circle, women who had been married for 10 to 15, 20 years, women who had been single and raised kids, women who have been single, didn't have any kids, and weren't married, but have been successful in their career. Everybody was pretty much offering their perspective based on their personal experience. And the question I posed to the group was, why does it have to be one or the other? We shouldn't have to sacrifice ourselves or specific areas of our lives in order to have another thing. It shouldn't be one or the other. We should have, I know it sounds ideal, but we should have the ability to be able to quote unquote have it all at the same time. And I do admit that there are different roles that we play out in this modern society, be it mother, wife, sister, friend, community leader, things like that, career woman. And that takes on a different energy depending on the time frame or season that you are in your life. Well, another question I asked the group was, well, what does having it all mean to you? So I'm going to talk about personal experience for a second. I grew up in a single parent household next to my grandparents who were very much a stable force in our lives as I was growing up. So while my mother became a single parent, when her and my father divorced, and then when she got another divorce the second time, I had the stability of having my grandparents next door and seeing what a traditional household looked like, was ran like, and etc. That being said, one of the things that I took from my childhood of growing up in a single parent home, number one was I'm going to change the narrative of single parents if I'm ever in that situation of single women being broke. Let's start there. I will not be the single mother that is broke and struggling. That's the stereotype in US society. Give it a different narrative. So, are there some things that have gone by the wayside as far as my life is concerned? I have personally chosen to live my life with intention and clarity. I have done my job based on the rules I set for myself and the life that we wanted to live, period. And no one can tell me any different, and no one can tell me otherwise. As the group continues to have the conversation, another colleague of mine or friend, associate, I'll call her an associate. She's been married for the full, since we 25, 26, and she's getting a divorce after 17 years. She wants something different, and she's talking about how she hasn't been happy for years. I stay out of married folks' business. Number one, because that ain't none of my business unless you come talking to me about it. And even if you still come talking to me about it, and we're close in nature as far as our friendship is concerned, that's still between you and I. It is not my business to go out and blab to whoever, whatever party wants to listen if they want to talk about somebody and gossip. Like, no. After all these years, they're calling it quits. I have another friend who's been married for the past, I think, 13 years. And she woke up one morning and was just like, I want something different. And I want to say this because it is okay for you to not get it right and make a different choice if something isn't working for you. And the pressure as Black women we put on ourselves of having it all and making it all look good, the perception of it is really not worth probably the stress and strain you put on yourself, because there are people have it all by traditional standards. There's a sacrifice being made somewhere. That's the reality of it. And you can have it all, but you have to learn to balance what having it all means to you. And then you have to also define what having it all means. Do we have to sacrifice who we are in parts of our lives in order to be happy and successful? I disagree with that. But there are some requirements that require balance in the universe, if that makes sense. So that is the myth of sacrifice. We don't have to sacrifice everything to everybody in order to be happy. How could you be happy sacrificing yourself? You're basically presenting yourself as a martyr. to your marriage, to your relationship, to your children, to every area of your life. If you are sacrificing and putting everybody else's needs before your own, how can you ever be happy in that? I'm just wondering because yeah, if I get out of balance in regards to my energy and I pay attention to the fact that something is off and I go realign myself because that means I am getting out of balance with myself, which is never a good thing, right? You have to be in balance for women in general. You have to be in balance within yourself in order for you to be productive and to contribute to whatever part of your life you're giving your energy and attention to in the moment. That's myth number one. The next thing we're going to talk about is redefining success and finding balance, which is kind of what I just touched on earlier. Let's go into some more specific details. Number one, let's shift your definition of success. Success isn't just about the traditional stereotype of being married, having kids, having a career, having a house. You don't have to walk according to that path if that is not what you want to do. You can create a life based on your desires, your wants, and your needs and live that life. So, number two, we're going to prioritize our personal boundaries. As I was just mentioning a second ago, being a martyr to everyone is being nothing basically to yourself. You can't be a martyr to everyone and expect your life to go in a certain order because you literally don't have anything else to give. Like, once you've given to everybody else but yourself, you have nothing left to give. So you have to learn how to put yourself first, and there is nothing wrong with that. You will hear people say that it's selfish for you to put yourself first and try to project their insecurities and fears onto you. That's where your boundaries come in. Say, hey, I got this. I've been living my life for however many years. I do just fine. Appreciate the feedback, but I got this. Moving right along. And then number three, invest in a support system that supports your concept of what it means to have it all. You need additional people who are further along in the journey than you. And that's in whatever area of life you're looking to elevate. You have to have a North Star to look to strive to get to. Otherwise, you'll be lost along the path. Redefining what success means to you, making it work for you, owning your boundaries and keeping them in place. And then, like I said, having that support system, all those play into you being the best version of you. So let's go back to the concept of, do Black women have to sacrifice in order to be successful? I am going to say that is up to you. And no, you do not have to sacrifice certain areas of your life in order for you to be successful. I think you should define for yourself what success means, and not based on the templates that we've all been given. We've all been given the same template. Go to school, get good grades, be a good person, give to the poor. Like, everybody has that template given to them when we're being socialized into society in America. Be a good person, do everything everybody else wants you to do, and never take care of yourself. Like, our society literally teaches women to put everybody else first except themselves. Literally, it is in the DNA. Women often have way more guilt than men do. In addition to that, now add whatever else you got going on in your life. So that's just regular guilt. Add mom guilt, wife guilt, career guilt, daughter guilt. Like, it takes on so many forms if you let it. And then there is a point, like I said, you have to be the owner and conductor of your life and say, yeah, no, I'm not going to let you take my power from me. No, I don't want that. And I choose not to do that. And so I am empowered for that choice. Women, let's talk about being mothers. Whether you are single or married, your children are your responsibility 10,000 plus times infinity% of the time, period. I don't care whether you have fathers that are involved, yes. But a lot of times men take on that traditional role of, well, it's mom's job to rear the kids and to care for them and this and that. And they fall into that traditional role of being a provider. Because at the end of the day, even if your relationship with that other person doesn't work out, you are bound to your kids, bonded for life. So as a woman, you are 100 10,000%. Like, I'm making up big numbers, responsible for your kids. And like within our circle, as we were talking and having this conversation, there were so many married single moms in this group, y'all. It didn't matter that they had been married for 10, 15 years. The mother still held the majority responsibility when it came to raising kids, managing schedules, and being responsible for their development and well-being. And what you will see happen in those situations is a lot of times women will get resentful because they're like, I'm sitting up here being a single parent in my marriage. What are you here for? Like, what is the point of your existence in my world if I can function like this and raise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids? And then you just hear come and go as you please. I know not every father is like that, but a lot of them are. I could literally go take a survey in the group amongst the 6 women that I was sitting in for the ones that were married who are now getting divorces. I can almost 100% guarantee you they considered themselves to be married single mothers. I think that's it for this episode. I wanted it to be very quick, very powerful. I wanted to talk about the conversation that I was having with other women in regards to Black women and success. I hope something that I shared in this episode was valuable to you. And if so, please leave us a 5-star review, share it with your friends because it helps our listenership grow. And until then, I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.